Everyone, how's it going so far? I'm sure it would have been a fun-filled and packed day for all of you, and a lot of sessions for the last 2 days. And hang on with me, this is the last session of the day, and you're all set to go for the weekend party, I guess. Yeah. So I'm taking a different perspective today. I'm not going to show any live demo. I'm going to talk about how not to build a startup. And again, it's also related to AI. I'm going to talk about AI has changed the startup world, right? So AI has changed everything in startups, in coding, in development. So AI has changed the startup world. There are a lot of startups coming out of stealth every day. I don't know if you all follow news. There are a lot of startups coming out of stealth. There are a lot of startups getting funded every day. They're getting funded in the range of 50 to 100 million. Like last week, there are many startups got acquired for 500 million to 1 billion range. If you see in the left side graph, if you see the funding of VCs are not getting slowed down at all. There are a lot of AI startups keep getting funded and the graph is keep growing. On the right side, if you see the pink color graph, that's where the AI startups are getting funded fast compared to the non-AI startups. When you have a startup with AI, VCs are willing to skip a lot of due diligence and they're willing to invest in you compared to non-AI startups. AI startups are getting a fast pass and there are a lot of AI startups getting into live and a lot of traction in the last couple of months. Right? So what I'm going to, also if this is a recent article, the research that came out today, AI is getting normalized. There are a lot of tools being built around AI. And if you see, this is a research where ChatGPT is able to do 50% of the practical tasks that a human can do. Like we take about all the practical tasks that you consider doing on a day-to-day basis and consider that GDP, ChatGPT 5, the latest model, is able to do 50% of the tasks that a human practically will do. So it's keep improving. The models are improving. There are a lot of agents coming around. There are a lot of tools being built around the agents. So AI is getting standardized and it is easy to build a startup on top of AI models. Before it was really easy. Like 3 years back when we were trying to build something with AI, we were able to only get hands on Hugging Face or any open source models. But there are a lot of out-of-the-box agents, out-of-the-box memory tools available in the market to build startups. But I'm not going to talk about how to build an AI startup now. Today, I'm going to talk about from 18 years of experience building 3 startups. I have failed in 2 startups miserably. And finally, with Juggle, that is my startup that I have now, we are thriving, we got a market fit, and we are able to generate revenue. So I'm going to talk about the 3 lessons that I learned by building startups. So that will help you all when you are building a startup. So that way you don't rely on these mistakes and it will help you to build your startup as well with AI boom, right? So Juggle, what is Juggle? So Juggle is an AI-powered workflow management application. We have users across the globe. We have around 250 businesses who use our app, and we have around 3,500 users using our application. So again, like I mentioned earlier, this talk is not about the success story of Juggle. This talk is about how not to build a startup. What are the lessons that I learned building Juggle? The first lesson, I'm going to talk about 3 lessons today. This is the first lesson. The first lesson is don't fall in love with the idea, right? So a lot of us have ideas. A lot of us want to do startups. But what happens when we try to execute them, we see they are failing. It's been failed, right? We start with the idea. We think this idea is the right idea to execute. But once we execute the idea, we see no users are using our application. We stop from there. We don't continue building it. That's where here, if you see a lot of pivoting is good. So every startup have to go through a stage called pivot. So if you have an idea, you start building it, but you see that idea is not the right idea to go, I would recommend you to pivot. If you see all the apps over here in the screen, for example, Shopify, it took 2 years for them to pivot and find the product market fit. So pivoting is not bad. But when pivoting becomes bad, right? When pivoting becomes bad, when you're stuck in the pivot hell trap, you don't know what you're pivoting to, right? So you're keep on pivoting. So you see some shiny objects, you want to build that. Next day, there's a VR glass introduced, you want to add that to your application. If you're pivoting without a goal in your mind, without getting feedback from your customers. So when you're pivoting, you have to go in the direction of your customers. You should have an end goal in place. The first step is you have to listen to your customer feedback. When you're pivoting, the second step is you should have a larger goal in your mind. Where are you going to heading to? What pivot? What is your app's concept? Like for example, when we built Juggle, when we built our software, we always want to build or solve the problem for small and medium enterprises. We want to solve the problem of operations management. So we always went to small and medium businesses and we got the feedback from them and we always pivoted on the range of what small and medium enterprises wanted. So like here in this picture, there's one pro tip that I will give you. If you are closer to the problem, try to build around that problem, build a solution for that problem. So if you are not part of the problem, it's very tough to build. For example, we go and ask the customer feedback, we will not be able to understand what they are trying to tell us because you are not part of the problem. They might think something in their mind and they might ask you for something. A lot of times when you go and ask customer, hey, do you want to build this feature? Yes. When we go and build it and present to them, they ask for a different thing because they start using it. When they feel it, it is something different. So when you are part of the problem, it is easy for you to build. So if you want to build a startup, you should be part of the problem and you should experience that problem. It's easy to solve for you. So try to pick a problem that you are part of. So it is easy to solve for you and it will be also solved for many other people like you. So again, like I said, this is a funny thing. So we started as a chat app in 2020. These are the pivots we did personally, I did. So we had to go through these pivots. We started as a chat application in 2020. We released in 2021. By the time, communication was a bigger problem during COVID because small businesses could not communicate. All the businesses were closed. Everyone were virtual. So they couldn't communicate with each other. So we released a chat application. By the time we released, all the businesses started to come online and they started to go in person. Then we released a task management app. So all they said is, hey, chat is not enough for us. We also want task management built in. Then again, we went and asked the customers. Then they said, hey, we want attendance tracking as well. We want all the HR management to be done here. Then we asked them again. They said, hey, no, we want order management. Then what happened? Eventually, we built these silos inside our app. Finally, AI came to our savior. So now we have AI, which connects all of these features together. Now we are AI workflow management application for both small businesses, which are running e-commerce and social application, as well as to manage their operations. So all the time, we were focusing on SMEs, how to help them manage their operations. Even though we pivoted, we built so many things, we were always going to our customers, giving the app to them, asking them for the feedback, and building based on the feedback. So pivoting is not bad, as long as you're sticking to what the problem you're trying to solve, right? So that's the first lesson. Don't stick to your idea. Try to pivot, try to get your customer feedback and go in that particular journey. So next one, lesson number 2, which is don't neglect fundamentals for hypergrowth. How many of you have pets here? Can you raise your hands? Yeah, we are all pet lovers. I have a pet. It's a golden doodle. I miss him a lot. So yeah, yeah. So this is about a comparison. How these two apps failed. Like I'm sure most of you know about Rover, but not many of you know about Wag. Wag was a dog walking app. It got funded around 300 million at a 2 billion valuation in 2018. And they miserably failed in 2023. Like after 4 years, they got bankrupt. In 2023, they gone bankruptcy and they are not no more. But similarly, Rover, they got funded at 3 million to start with in 2012. And they slowly built. They asked feedback from their customers. They built their foundation very strong. They were focusing more on the customer service, the quality of service, the output that they are providing. And that's where Rover got acquired for 2.2 billion. And then that investment firm listed Rover in IPO in public markets. And still Rover is #1 app for pet sitting. I use Rover as well. So what Wag focused was, as soon as they got the funding, they never focused on the customer service, quality, or vetting the sitters. There are a lot of problems when dog sitters were not vetted properly, the dogs were not taken care properly. So they were more focused towards marketing and sales before building the foundation correct. That made Wag customers to drop. So that's what nowadays they call it as product-led growth. If you go online, if you're building a startup, everyone advocates you for product-led growth. What they say is, you go, give your product, users use it, and they start paying for it. So no one charges for the apps if you see. So that's what ChatGPT did. That's a product-led growth. They give you a free version, they make you addicted to it, and then they make you pay for it. So there's no more paywall. Like 5-6 years back, you have to pay for something before you start using it. But nowadays, everything is product-led growth. So you have to build the app has to be so addictive that people will have to pay for it. That's what ChatGPT did. And we are all into the AI wave now. So it's the same. Every app does the same now. So get your fundamentals strong before the hyper growth, before you start marketing, before you start selling. But there is also a key pro tip here. How do you know there is a demand for your app, right? So you have to do marketing for it, but not by spending money, but by reaching out to all the communities. There is Reddit. There are many forums where you can go. You can give your app, test your app. When we started building our app, we had a big community of testers who tested. We know they will not be users again for us because they hate the app. The app was not ready, but they gave us feedback that your app is not working. So we had community, we built a community around it. So we asked our users feedback continuously. Okay, this is the other that's a good thing we did, but we also did another mistake. So we were a little bit greedy when we launched our app because it was a generic app, it was a small businesses. We know small businesses are everywhere in APAC, they are in Europe, they are in Middle East. So we thought, why shouldn't we go global? It's now online, it's virtual, so why shouldn't we go global? That's where we assumed our app can be used by every business globally, even though they are SMEs, but we hit a block there. Not just from customer success and sales, but also technically. I'll just give you two examples. One example is everyone knows Stripe. So we use Stripe for our subscription as a SaaS product in US. And we assume Stripe is also a global application. It does payment processing across the globe, but no, it doesn't work in APAC. So we had built our sales team, customer success team there as well because customer acquisition cost was less. But Stripe is not working for collecting payments. So we have to collect payments manually and we have to integrate a different payment processor there. I don't think integrating a two payment processor is going to be a USP for our app, but we have to spend development time in integrating two payment processors. So all the users who are coming from APAC region, they will see a different price. They will go through a different payment processor. All users coming through US or other regions will go through Stripe. In the early stages of development, every hour, every minute matters. So that's where I am saying, so don't assume everything globally. So try to build the product locally, try to give it to your customers locally, try to market, try to find the market fit before you spend on certain things, before you try to scale it or market it globally, right? Second thing is, we always thought the businesses run same in every place, like SMEs are SMEs. But now that's not the case. When you look at a manufacturing business that is running in the US, it's completely different than running in the Europe or running in APAC. So user persona is also completely different. That's a pro tip that I'll give you from the experience or the losses that we had or lessons we learned, right? So businesses are also different. ICPs are also different. Even though it's the same product manager, same manufacturer, same laborer, the way they operate is going to be different based on the region. So don't assume that when you're launching an app, you can launch for all regions. Launch local, build local, scale locally, then you can go global. Yep. So that's it, second lesson. Like I said, the second lesson to repeat. So don't neglect the fundamentals for hyper growth. Just stay local. Try to build the foundation before you grow high. Over-engineered. How many of us here over-engineered, right? Yeah. So we want to make sure every UI, UX is perfect before we launch. That's not the case. You know about vibe coding. Everyone now vibe codes. So there's a balance between that, right? I cannot launch a prototype as an app and ask someone to pay for it, right? So don't over-engineer before you launch. There's a flip to it as well. This is a mistake we did. So we took a use case where we were saying, hey, we are going to replace WhatsApp. Don't use WhatsApp. We are going to build WhatsApp. So for building WhatsApp, we have to do Android, we have to use native coding, we have to build an iOS platform, we have to use React, we have to use AWS. Even in AWS, we have to make sure that our chat is scaled for millions of users. That's what I was telling. There was another developer who I worked with in the initial stages. He was starting to test the app such that it works for millions of users from day one. No one is going to use your app on day one for millions of users because we assume like we'll be replacing WhatsApp on day one. No one knows there is an app called Juggle unless you market it, right? So two lessons from here. One is pick a problem that is easy to solve or that doesn't involve many technical or technologies there, right? So here we picked a problem chat. So for chat, you cannot go for a React application because it will be slow and we are competing against WhatsApp. It has to be very fast. So we have to build code in Android, iOS and React. Otherwise, we would have gone for a hybrid application just using React framework. The second problem is we thought that on day one, millions of users will start using our application. So that way we were doing load testing and we were spending server cost for load testing, which was not really needed at all, right? So why millions of users will be there? We no need to test for scaling. Might be we got like 100 users on the day of launch. But one thing we got on the day of launch is someone attacked our server using brute force. They know that we are launching on day one. So they made sure they know that our WAF was not that real strong. So they did a brute force OTP attack. But other than that, we got like 100 users on day one. Yeah. So don't over-engineer. Just keep it simple. Try to get as much feedback as possible and make your foundation very, very strong before you go global or scale it. Okay, so to conclude it, you can see in the screen, these are the top 50 apps, AI-based apps in the last 2 months. Like this is a report generated from Anderson Hodes. They are a big investment firm, A16Z. So these are the top 15 apps in the Play Store or web or wherever, right? The top 15 apps, most active AI apps used. So if you see, AI is everywhere, right? Most majority of the people who build these apps in this screen are not like big players like Meta or Facebook or Microsoft. They are all players like people like us who are in this room, who might be a little bit luckier, who took the first action, right? So for example, if you take the app number 50, which is on PlantNet, that's a very simple idea. So what that app does is you have to go use your app, scan a plant, and it tells you what is the heredity of the plant, or what is the hierarchy of the plant, and what you need to do for the plant, like whether you need to water the plant, is it overwatered or less watered, what care do you need to take for the plant. So it is number 50. It's a simple idea. They use AI model behind the scenes. They have fine-tuned the AI model to work for a plant, like a set of plants. They feed all the AI, plant data into the AI model. So it gives you a suggestion of what you need to do for that particular plant. What care do you need to do for the plant? So the idea is very simple. All I'm trying to say here is the technology or the development doesn't need to be complex. All you need to do is just solve a simple problem, and AI is here, and this is the right time for us, all of us, to solve problem using AI. Again, this is the top 10 AI agentic app applications which are generating revenue. In this, if you see Replit and Lovable, they are the number one, the first companies, 2 companies to reach 1 billion ARR in 6 months. Lovable and Replit. I think they are the fastest to reach 1 billion ARR. I don't know if it is 6 months, but they are the fastest to reach 1 billion ARR in any SaaS product. So these are top 10 agentic apps. You can see the revenue that they are generating. So AI is here. So we are also building on agents. So we have built like around 9 agents, and we are releasing few more agents in the coming weeks. So AI is here to stay. AI has changed how we develop, how products are being built, right? So AI has changed how products are being built. AI is there from development to testing to marketing to sales. There's no SEO anymore. It's AEO or GEO, right? So all I'm requesting everyone of here is, let's not just watch from the sidelines of all the AI startups, right? Let's start building AI startups, right? So it could be like so one of us from this room, right? Could be one of the in this top 50 list. So AI is here for us. Let's start building startups. Let's use on some of these lessons. Might be these help you all. So this AI boom is here for us to stay, and for any product development or speed of development, so AI is here too. AI is going to help us, and any lessons that you have learned from here is going to help you on that. Thank you. So I'll just go to my. So this is my LinkedIn. So feel free to connect. So if you have any product ideas or anything that you want to ping me or DM me, in case you have been working on something on the sidelines and you want to establish or you are planning to release, you can feel free to ask me for any questions. Yep. And I also have some small giveaways for you all. Like like for the first 3 people who can ask me a question, I want to give you a giveaway. Yeah, good. That's a secret. Yeah, good.
What would you recommend if the product is if there's a product that's already established in the market? Would you recommend switching to a different idea, or maybe if you're able to find something that product can offer, do you think it's worth pursuing?
Yeah, so if the product is already there, it's about checking their TAM or SAM. So what is the total addressable market and a serviceable market? But those are all just metrics also, right? So what happens is, certain times what we feel, the product is already there, but there are some gaps in the product. Like for example, let's say there's WhatsApp, but WhatsApp didn't have, I know most of you are using WhatsApp or Telegram or Discord, right? They didn't have communities feature. A lot of people built applications just for communities because WhatsApp didn't have communities feature. But soon in 2-3 years, WhatsApp released communities feature. So it's all about how you trying to create and carve out and separate niche in the same industry or same place, which that player is not there, so you can attract new users, or are you trying to move the users from that application to your application? So it's about the habit, right? If they're already using, like you say, the competitor is already there in this space and there are already a lot of users using the app, and you're going to build a new app to attract them to your application, that's going to be a tough sell. But if there is a small carved out space where there's no one in that region and you can build a solution for that, that could be good. Yeah. So it again depends on how big that player is. A lot of applications they build on top of Salesforce, like they just fill the gap that Salesforce doesn't have, and it get acquired by Salesforce or it get acquired by SAP, because they're just filling the small gap. Like let's say there's not efficient dashboard option, or there is no option to generate leads or incentives for leads through Salesforce. They build that application and it gets acquired by Salesforce. Yeah, it depends on the type of problem or the type of the addressable market. Yeah.
How do you determine if the problem is the problem worth solving so that people actually pay money for it?
That's a really good question. So that's something that we initially missed. The problem worth solving is how much pain you have. Let's say you have a stomach pain or a tooth pain or the throat pain or leg pain, right? So when you have something on your tooth, it's unbearable, right? But stomach pain, yes, you can manage. So how hard or how powerful is that pain is? That's the problem worth solving. Let's say it's a nice to have tool, they never pay for it. We initially started like that. When you go demo it, yes, they like it, they want to use it, but they never use it because it will not go through the implementation phase, because they'll keep it as a low priority of their business. They don't have immediate need to use it. Anything related to CRM, anything that is related to revenue generation, they immediately want to do it. So because it's a pain for the business, like in my sector, because I am selling to business, B2B, anything that is related to revenue for that business, they're going to buy it because it's going to impact their revenue. They want revenue to run their business. So that's why you see a lot of CRM tools coming in the market, because any CRM tool, they want to buy it because they want leads. Like Clay has reached like 3 billion valuation into 1 year. They just give you leads, Apollo.io. So there are a lot of CRM tools coming in the market because I need to get the leads, customers to get my revenue. Yeah. So how big is the pain is? That's a problem we have to pick. Yeah.
You talk about how you have to have strong product fundamentals, but you don't want to over-engineer. And you have to obviously market the product, but you don't want to over-market before you have. So how do you make sure that you're keeping that balance as time goes on?
So it's about the progress that you're making. So sometimes like you have built many things, but you're not asking proper feedback from the customer, right? So I would say it's more of intuition and how much budget you have in your bank to do it. So I am mostly taking care of product and engineering, and I am a co-founder who takes care of marketing and sales. It's always a struggle between both of us. I say, I already built so many applications, why are you not marketing? And his side is, hey, we have less funding. If I spend for marketing, and if the user don't like the app, he doesn't use the app, the money I spent for marketing is gone waste. But if I spend the same money for building a product, I can at least exit by selling this technology or the IP to someone else. But if you spend for marketing, and if the user comes in, he tries to use the app, and he doesn't like the app, he's not paying for it, all the money you spend for marketing is not going to come back, it's vanished. So you have to treat that way, try to do a balance between both. So when you're spending for marketing, you have to have the market fit, as well as is the app stable enough for the users who's coming in? Are we going to get the revenue back from that user? Yeah.
How do you find like the first 10 or 15 users? How do you do that initial market research to see a problem we're solving?
So first you have to narrow down your ICP. That's something that we never did. We went very generic. Whoever asks there is a need, we just gave the app to testing and we got the feedback and we keep building. So narrowing down the ICP is really, really critical. Without doing that, you should never start building or getting feedback from users, because the ICP can be different within the industry also. So it might be, let's say in a business, operation manager is different from an technical manager compared to a product manager. So everyone's thought, everyone's operation, everyone's the day-to-day is completely different. Yeah.
But do you have any specific actions that you start with? For example, like, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say I want to like build software for a small business, right? Like, what is your first step? You just go on like LinkedIn, DM like a bunch of people that.
Yeah, you have to. So what we did, we interviewed like 15, 20 small businesses. We asked them come to our conference room. We interviewed them. Then from there we have to narrow. We didn't narrow down exact ICP. That's a small mistake we did. So you have to narrow down the exact small business. In that small business, who's your ICP who's going to use? Is it the marketing manager or the sales manager? Even in that small business, what industry you are going to target? So when you go on demo to the VCs, most often that's what they ask. What vertical are you targeting? If you go and pitch anyone, if you say and my app can be used for any industries, they think that you're bluffing. It's not working. Your app is not working. So they ask you first, what is the vertical you're working on? What is the ICP or user persona that you're working on?